Well, everyone, today is a very special day for Prune Juice Media. We're launching our official interview section for our website at prunejuicemedia.com. And for our inaugural chat, it is my pleasure to be joined by one of the NBA's most respected and accomplished players, Mr. Grant Hill. Welcome, Grant. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. No problem. For those that don't know, I know your time is limited, but for those that don't know, the upcoming season will be in the NBA will be Grant's 18th, I believe, in the league, and you are now a forward for the Los Angeles Clippers. In addition to obviously being an athlete, you're also a husband, father, philanthropist, filmmaker, businessman, and even an occasional musician for your wife, Tamia. Who's a four-time Grammy-nominated singer. But in addition to all those roles that you play, I think the one thing, and this has been the one thing that has interested me about you, is that a lot of people don't know that you have a lot of ties to the political process. And I want to talk a little bit about that today. I know in the past you've mentioned that your mother, Janet Hill, was roommates with Hillary Clinton while she attended Wellesley College. But now that you have your own family, I've noticed that your political involvement in recent years has been a lot more public, and specifically around the Obama campaign. My first question is actually about your contact with the Obamas. You took a very high-profile trip with First Lady Michelle Obama last week to London to the opening ceremonies at the 2012 Summer Olympic Games. Can you tell us a little bit about that, what it was like, why you were chosen, and how that all came about?
Yes, no, it was a tremendous honor to be a part of the President's and his First Lady's delegation at the opening ceremonies last week in London. And it was, just to be selected and to represent our country along with a few other former Olympians, Randy Chastain, Dominique Dawes, Summer Sanders. It was great. I had a chance to fly on Air Force Two. I had a chance with the First Lady to interact with some of the Olympic athletes. We had a big Let's Move event in London at the home of the U.S. Ambassador to Great Britain. And, of course, I had a chance to sit with her throughout the entire opening ceremony in London. And so sort of why I was selected, I don't know. Certainly, I think I'm fortunate that I can call President Obama and Mrs. Obama friend, and
that's always good.
Been able to. Yeah, no, it is it's cool, and certainly I think they are just an unbelievable family, certainly a great example, in terms of parenting, husband and wife, particularly, in the African-American community, but I think for everyone.
Right.
How they interact with each other, what they stand for, it's truly remarkable. So, yeah, it's been neat. It's been neat to sort of have, some access to the White House and to be able to interact with them on a number of different sort of platforms. Actually, as we speak, I'm driving to a fundraiser where I will introduce her later today. So,
okay, cool.
So it's been an interesting sort of relationship with the First Family, and hopefully we can do our part to try to get them reelected back in office in November.
Okay. Is the fundraiser in Arizona or in Florida, or where are you going to be?
Well, it's up there in Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
I'm in Massachusetts right now. So I've been canvassing the globe here
right.
in the last few days. But it's fun to participate in the political process. I had the opportunity to co-host and introduce then Senator Obama back in 2007, and actually he was way behind, I guess, in the polls at that time with then Senator Clinton.
Right.
And I had a chance to co-host and introduce him at a fundraiser in Bethesda. So, I've done these things before, and I think growing up in Washington, D.C., and then having parents who were actively involved in politics and certainly are well-connected on both sides of the aisle, it's been something that I've enjoyed doing in my adult life and hope to continue to do.
Oh, cool. That sounds like you doing a lot politically, and I know that you spoke about the Olympics and how close you are to the Obamas. You also attended, I remember, the president's 50th birthday party that he hosted on the White House lawn last year, if I remember correctly. And you talked about some of your fundraising. And as we get closer to the November election specifically this year, what political issues have you found that are important to you and or your family? What are some of the hot button issues that you kind of gravitate toward?
Well, I think this is obviously a matter of opinion, and I don't pretend to be a politician, but I think when you vote, you want to think about what's best, obviously, for your family, but what's best for America.
Okay.
And I think one of the hot topics, certainly, people who might be sort of in my tax bracket, if you will, or above that threshold, is the whole idea of taxes and what we should pay.
Right.
And, I'm a strong believer that you do need a middle class, and it shouldn't be sort of this trickle down from the top economic sort of model.
Right.
But really, I enjoy paying taxes and enjoy, and you need that balance. I've been fortunate, through basketball, and the travels, and being able to go all over the world, and you see societies, if you will, countries that it's the have and the have not. When that happens, it's not good.
Right.
In a lot of ways. I guess you can reference history, and I'm a history major, so I don't pretend to be an expert, but there's certain examples of when that happens. Majority have nots. There's problems. There's revolution, and so not to get way ahead of myself, but I think as someone who would have to pay more taxes, I'm okay with that. I think I like the freedoms we have. Every time I go abroad, I'm happy to come home.
Right.
And so I don't mind contributing to the better of society, and not just thinking selfishly about me or about my family, but about what's best for our country. So, there's so many sort of hot topics, if you will, and things you can debate. But I am what I pay and what I make. I would fall into sort of traditionally, if you will, the conservative mindset or side of the aisle. But I think I believe that's wrong. I think we should pay tax, and part of those taxes protects us and allows for us to have the freedoms we have in this country.
That's a really good answer. I'm glad that you kind of explained that a little bit further. I want to talk a little bit more about the First Lady and some of the things that you were talking about in London, specifically around her Let's Move campaign to get young people exercising and moving. And I know, of course, with you being an athlete, I'm sure that cause is very important to you as well. How would you say that your fans and even fans of the First Lady or anybody that would be listening to this interview can get kids excited about sports and exercise when there's so many other things around them like video games and sitting in the house and other activities that they may be involved in that wouldn't have them exercising as much? How can we get kids excited these days about actually moving like the First Lady is encouraging?
Well, it's a great point. I think, my wife and I, we have two children, and they're active kids, but, if you compare it to sort of when we were growing up, times are a little bit different, and that age of innocence where you can go outside sort of unsupervised and roam and roam around and play and interact with your friends and ride your bike and do all these different things. Our kids are a little bit more sheltered now,
right.
and there's so many more concerns as a parent, and so we have to make more of a concerted effort to organize those types of